السلام عليكم. My Morocco, المغرب ديالي. I want to share with you a story today of how I ended up here, standing on this stage with you in Fez. The story of why I've decided to stay in this country year after year after year, and of what my dream is for the future of Morocco, which I thank Minister Shami very much for his entry by asking us earlier if we have a dream, because the last half of my presentation is about my dream for Morocco. So thank you, Minister Shami, very much. I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, 6,899 kilometers away from where I'm standing right now. I grew up just like any kid, pretty much, growing up in the Midwest of the United States, with one exception. I was blessed by God with incredible parents who always challenged me to ask questions, to learn about other cultures, to not judge people. And that did so much to make me who I am today. No matter how open-minded you are, though, it's a question of exposure. As a child, my experience with Arab culture, I can remember two things. When I was 8 years old, I went to Disney World in Florida, and I visited Bab Jnoud. And my favorite movie as a child growing up was Aladdin, which my father always says he thinks that that's why I ended up growing up and marrying an Arab, was because I was so in love with the character of Aladdin as a child. دابا غير باش نقول لهم هاد القضيه انا عزيزه ليا هذيك الحكم ديال زمان ديال المغرب ايوا انا غادي نستعمل بزاف منهم في البريزونطاسيون ديالي اليوم. هاد واحده مثال اللي عزيزه ليا نقطه بالنقطه كيحمل الوعد. I didn't become Moroccan overnight. It's a story that takes about 10 years to get here. And unfortunately, it's a story that doesn't have a very happy beginning. I lived in New York on September 11th, 2001. That was my home. I had a meeting on September 11th at 9 a.m. in the World Trade Center. They say maktab, due to a scheduling problem, the Friday before, I changed the location of the meeting. That means on September 11th, I wasn't in the building. I was 40 blocks away. Alhamdulillah. But that experience changed me. I remember the fear. I look at this picture, and when I see the look on those people's faces, that is the look I know was on my face. I watched the buildings fall, not on television, with my own eyes. And that experience changed me. When I woke up on the morning of September 12th, I felt helpless. And I kept hearing these words on the television: Islamic Jihad, Arab terrorists. And I realized, thank God for what my parents gave me, because my parents told me, don't judge, ask questions. I was working at the time in an international NGO, and I had been lucky enough to have friends from Egypt, from Morocco, from Tunisia, and so I started asking questions. And the answers I got weren't what I expected. One of the first things I did, I went out, I bought a Quran. I said, I have to understand Islam. Can there really be a religion that says it's okay to kill innocent people? Of course there's not. When I read the Quran, what I found was not this message to kill Americans. What I found was a religion that sounded so much like the stories of the prophets and the messages of values and of caring that were what I had heard growing up in a primarily Christian country with those messages around me. I started asking questions about Islam, about Arab culture, and I realized that my view was so wrong. I traveled. I went to Egypt, first Tunisia and then Egypt. I met real live Arabs. I sat with them. I became friends with them. And I realized that not only were my perceptions of them completely wrong, their perceptions of me were completely wrong. It was that experience that led myself and a group of amazing leaders who I worked with at the time in an international NGO to form a program called the Salam Project. These students that you see here in these photos, The ones on the top left, those are American students that spent the summer of 2004 living in Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, and Dubai. Those students on the right are a group of Arab students that came and lived in the United States. The program was about breaking down cultural barriers. This picture here is my favorite. هذيك في اليسار هو إماراتي وهذيك في اليمين هو أمريكاني. That to me was the goal of our program. It was also the Salon program that brought me to Morocco for the very first time. And I fell in love with Morocco the first day I got here. Wallah, I just landed here and I fell in love with the country. The people, the food, the sights, the sounds, everything about it I loved. I loved it. And I went back and I finished the work with the Salon program. I worked for the program for a year and a half and I missed Morocco. So I started trying to figure out a way to get back. Thankfully, due to a program called the Fulbright program, which organizes exchanges between the US and Morocco, I was able to come back and spend a year living in Morocco. And غير باش نقول لكم بالضربة واحد الحاجة على فاز. فاز ما نقدرش نقول لكم فريمون نهار كبير أنا معكم هنا في فاز. ما نقدرش نقول لكم شحال عزيزة عليا فاز. لقاش أنا فاش عاد جيت المغرب المدينة الأولى اللي عايشت فيها هي فاز. أنا جيت هنا دوزت 5 شهور كنت كنقرا عربيه في مدرسه امريكيه هنا فين طلبت الدارجه. انا فاش جيت لفاز كنت كنعرف غير هذاك السلام عليكم كي دايره وصافي خرجت من فاز مغربيه. I came to Morocco, I fell in love with it, I spent a wonderful year here with Fulbright. I decided to go back to the US, and that was because I had left my American boyfriend, who then became fiancé, who then became husband, in the US. As you can tell, he's very American. I met my husband in the US. I met him a month before I was leaving to come to Morocco. So we had a long-distance relationship with me and Morocco and him in the US. We used to الناس في المطار كانوا كيتلفوا vraiment الفول ديال المغرب أنا كنقول باي باي بالسلامة أنا اللي كنركب في الطيارة وهو اللي كيجلس. C'est bizarre. In the end, I convinced him to follow one of his dreams, which was to start a company in Morocco. And so I took my husband, who had been in the US for 11 years, and I brought him back to Morocco, where we decided to start 2 companies together. That's when the transformation was 100% complete. Why did I stay in Morocco? علاش جلست في المغرب؟ I know كاين بزاف منكم اليوم اللي كنتوا في البرا ورجيتوا للمغرب وانا عارفه كلكم شحال من مرات سولنا هذاك السؤال. علاش رجيت للمغرب؟ علاش قست المغرب؟ خصوصا هذيك لي زر بوان في كازا فاش كتكون سايقه هذيك الزحام ولا كتمشي للمقاده وخصك شي ورقه وكيقول لك سيري حتى كتجي. كتقول علاش رجيت للمغرب؟ But فاش كنسول هذيك السؤال كنراجع لي واحد مطلقه اللي بغى العسل يصبر للقراص النحل. So what's my honey? Why do I keep coming back to Morocco despite the fact that driving here is the scariest thing I've ever done in my life? For me, I can say 3 things. First of all, I think the Moroccan economy is one of the most exciting places to be in the world as a business person. There is so much growth happening here. There are so many exciting things opening up. I run 2 businesses here. I love it. It's not easy. I mean, you have to go to the muqata all the time if you own a business. I mean, it's not an easy thing, but I love it. And I love when I see the employees that are working with me, and I'm able to give them development opportunities, and I'm able to train them, and I'm able to mentor them, and I'm able to contribute to creating sustainable employment in Morocco. That makes me happy. The second thing for me is the countryside. I don't just own a business here, I also work on the board of directors of the High Atlas Foundation. I'm very active in associative work, and for me, فاش كندوز واحد الويكاند ديال هذيك الزحام ديال كازا ولا ديال الرباط كنخرج كنمشي للجبال وكندوز كنجلس الويكند في واحد العالم اخر. I love the countryside of Morocco. I love these people that are so wonderful. They have nothing and they'll give you everything, and that to me is what Moroccan culture is really about, and I love it and it inspires me. The other thing that's the honey for me is that I feel like I can give back here. These are two pictures of kids in a village that I worked in with the Hayatless Foundation. We built that clean drinking water system. These kids are, for the first day, for the first time in their life, seeing water coming running out of a faucet into their village. I feel like I can do something here. I feel like there's something to contribute. الحلم المغربي. I really swear this was in my slides before Minister Shami gave his speech about our dreams, so it works perfectly for intro into this. How many of you have seen the movie? شحال منكم تفرجتوا بالفيلم حلم مغربي? Nobody. Okay, it was an okay movie, but I didn't really like it because the message it sent, it was a قصة ديال هاد السيد كيجي وكيسارق وناس مساكن في العربية كيسرق منهم. It's like, it's not a dream, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Cauchemar. But it brings up an important point. I ask the same question. What are people's dreams for Morocco? What is everyone in this room's dreams for Morocco? I have one. I can tell you about it. But what are yours? It scares me sometimes that I look at Morocco through the eyes of foreigners. هذيك القوار فاش كيجيو هنا كيحمقوا على المغرب، كيحمقوا يقولوا واه البلاد شحال زين شحال واعر شحال، كتهضر في القهوه ماشي مغربي والله البلاد فيه المشكل وحنا ما عندنا والو